Alright, so this is part 3 of 3 of my coverage on the Asian English releases across the Yu-Gi-Oh landscape. So we covered the original Duel Monsters era in part 1, we covered GX in part 2, and now we're gonna get to 5Ds as well as every other like runoff product that they released along the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so if you're here, you better have watched part 1 and 2 because they are prerequisites for the information in this video. But that aside, in part 2, I did mention that Enemy of Justice was the last GX Asian English era before it was completely discontinued. So if that was the case, how is it possible that there's a chance of 5D's products? And that is because Konami decided to reintroduce Asian English to the Asian markets in Crimson Crisis. However, it didn't last very long because they only spent 2 sets before they axed it again, and that is pretty much where the Asian English cards are put to rest, and they have never come back to this day. But during that time, they did decide to release Crimson Crisis, Raging Battle, as well as one structure deck. So let's get into those real quick. So for some reason, Crimson Crisis, Raging Battle, as well as the structure deck did not follow suit with the TCG like their predecessors. These sets were actually introduced according to the OCG set list. So this means that the cards that existed in the OCG got Asian English versions, and the ones that were introduced in the TCG, sometimes they did not. Things like secret rares were left out of the Asian English Crimson Crisis and Raging Battles because for some reason they decided to opt into the OCG set list. But that's not the only OCG thing about them. The booster packs are actually OCG format. They look pretty much identical to OCG Raging Battle and Crimson Crisis. Even the structure deck has the exact same box as the OCG structure deck. The boxes now contain 30 packs instead of 24, and the packs contain 5 cards per pack instead of 9 like the GX or the Duel Monsters era. But that's not the only weird thing about this release. So you guys remember the Asian English card back, right? That was completely abandoned for these 3 releases, and they decided to introduce like the TCG back on these cards. So the front says AE in the set code, however the back is TCG. So I'm not actually sure if these cards are actually playable on the TCG side. But if they are playable, I would consider these cards some of the max rarities out there compared to the ones that people use today. So let's get into Crimson Crisis. Well, Crimson Crisis wasn't too much of a hit. It does come with 5 ultra rares, 5 ultimate rares, as well as 9 super rares, and it does have the ghost rare. So for Crimson Crisis, it's not that big of a deal because again, like we've left that format quite a long time ago and not a lot of cards are really usable in there. However, things like Arcanite Magician is stupid expensive even as a super rare. And yes, as you can imagine, the 2 ghost rares from Crimson Crisis and Raging Battle are crazy rare and stupid expensive. Like they are like ridiculous. A raw beat up copy goes for $4,000 to $5,000. It is absolutely insane because you have to understand it's 1 in 12 boxes, but like bro, the booster packs are extinct. The booster boxes are like, forget about it. We actually did not even know what the booster boxes looked like until somebody messaged me and showed me a picture of a box that they opened like back in the day and they still had it left over in their grandma's closet. Like this type of rarity is unheard of. There is nothing in any other trading card game that matches this type of rarity. Not only is the card obnoxiously rare, but the booster box is even worse. Like I said, we have not seen a single one come up for sale. I have not even seen a Raging Battle booster pack come up for sale ever. Like this is the type of rarity that we're talking about. Crimson Crisis, I saw 6 of them. I own 6 of them, and I have not seen any other ones come up ever. If you are a rare hunter like myself, these are right up your alley. These cards, these booster packs, and I mean, if you can find the mythical booster boxes, are a collector's dream. And the nice thing about collecting these cards is that the sets are not actually too massive. For example, on the TCG side, we have like 10 secret rares, 10 super rares, 10 ultra rares, 10 ultimate rares. Like it's just a huge set that is so impossible to complete. However, with the Asian English side on these 2, it's pretty much 40 cards and then you're done. You basically have a huge Asian English collection that any collector who's worth his salt will recognize the value that's there, the rarity that's there. I just think that that's such a unique aspect, and that's what I really love about these 5Ds releases. In terms of Raging Battle, again, the ghost rare is like crazy expensive. The ultimate rare is very expensive, but the most expensive card that you would not think of is the super rare Forbidden Chalice. Now, this card does not exist in super rare on the TCG. Like this card came as an ultra rare and ultimate rare on the TCG side, but on the Asian English side, it came as a super rare. This card goes for like 500 bucks. Like, that is kind of insane. Like, it's actually so ridiculous when you start quoting these prices. The ultimate rares, like every single one of them is at least like $1,000. The ultimate rare cover cards, $2,000. Like, it's just a crazy amount of rarity. It is a crazy amount of money that you have to spend in order to get these cards. But what's nice about them is, again, it's a small set. You're able to check them off slowly as they come up, because they never really do. So you'll have time between each card that comes up to be able to save up. I do have hopes of completing these two sets one day, because I think that they are such a unique part of Yu-Gi-Oh history. But that's Raging Battle. So now I want to get into the structure deck of 5Ds, and this is what is dubbed the Spellcaster's Command structure deck on the TCG side. It's actually dubbed Spellcaster's Command on the Asian English side, but on the OCG side it's like a weird name, like Lord of Wizard or something like that. Now this set, what's interesting about it is not Endymion, the cover card, because that is still an expensive card. It still goes for like 100 bucks by itself. But what's really cool is that Breaker in here comes as a common, but it is like way rarer than the TP variant, way rarer than the MFC variant. The Asian English common of Breaker in this set is like crazy rare and crazy expensive. It's at least 100 bucks. So I think that's just a cool nuance that I figured I'd mention with this deck. Some other cool cards that exist in the structure deck as well is Silent Magician level 4 and level 8. These are also commons in this set, but again, they are like crazy rare and crazy expensive, and they are the highest rarity of these cards. So if you are like a Yugi deck collector where you're trying to get every single card that Yugi had in the max rarity, this would be considered max rarity for those two cards. And just like the other two, these cards also come with the TCG back. Now, if you watched this far, I do appreciate you supporting the channel, and to give back, I'm actually going to be opening one of these extremely rare structure decks in an upcoming video. I do have a sealed one myself, so stay tuned for that. This is gonna be straight epic, man, because this thing has never been open online. I don't think most people even know about it. This is by far the rarest structure deck in the world. Nothing really comes close to these. Now, this is not the only structure deck that came out in the Asian English language. There is a starter deck Yugi and a starter deck Kaiba. However, those came alongside the first edition LOB box. So what does that mean? They were printed to oblivion. Majority of starter deck Kaibas that you see on the market today are going to be Asian English, and the majority of the SDK 001 card first edition is going to be Asian English. Those do not compare to anything like this. This is arguably the rarest structure deck of all time in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I must be out of my mind trying to open this, but it is what it is. I do want the cards inside. I want to show them off on video, so I figured why not. I got this one for a pretty decent price, so what's the harm in opening it up? Alright, so that's the conclusion of 5Ds. Now, there are some other Asian English releases. One card that is Asian English that I covered previously in another video is called the VB5 Barrel Dragon. To summarize that video real quick, that card comes in 3 different variations in a magazine called Valuable Book. The specific issue that this one comes in is number 5. And the 3 variants that it comes in is regular secret rare, reverse foil secret rare, as well as prismatic secret rare. With prismatic being around 20 to 30 times more expensive than the regular one, and then the reverse foil being like 2-3 times more expensive than the regular one. A lot of people don't even know about the 3 variants of this card, so if you do know about it, that's something to look out for. Another card that is called Asian English, but it's actually not Asian English, is the Asian English Blue Eyes prize card from 1999. Now, I have a video specifically going to be covering that, but to answer your questions, it's dubbed the Asian English Blue Eyes, but it is not actually Asian English as it has an OCG card back. But that's pretty much it. This 3-part series is my coverage of the Asian English releases in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. If you enjoy this type of content, like the video, subscribe if you want to see me open the structure deck in a future video. Comment down below what your thoughts are on Asian English. Do you think that they are overrated, underrated, or now that I've made the video, are they appropriately rated? If you want to support the channel further, I have a Patreon, and you can also use the links in the description to shop. I'm gonna leave links where you can buy these alties as well as these old Asian English cards, because I found some pretty nice deals for them. You can also pick yourself up your own Gardner binder. I make them myself, and they go directly to supporting the channel. But that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.